In the previous lesson, we have seen how we draw floor plans only with creating guides and reading our measurements from a piece of paper or a sketched floor plan that your client has sent you. Now let's have a look at situation number 2. As an interior designer, you will often receive digital floor plans created by architects or even some that may be very basic. These plans may come in different file formats such as JPEGs, PNGs or PDFs, and the quality of the measurements can also greatly vary. Some may be very detailed, while others may have a few measurements only. Although it is ideal to receive building plans directly from an architect, this is not always possible. To effectively work with these digital files in SketchUp, it is important to know how to import them and how to scale them to the correct measurements. Be informed that we need at least one measurement on the plan to be able to scale them up. Let's see now how to import these files into SketchUp and how to scale them to the correct measurement. Let's start by importing a very basic layout, which has just a few measurements available. I deleted the previous drawing from situation number 1 to make room for this file. You can do so too, or you can create a new file by clicking File, New. This will open the default template that you chose as your favorite. Just so you're informed, you won't have to redraw this example since you will definitely get a chance in the next lessons to create the actual house plans. What is more important here is for you to at least see and maybe try out how to import a file and how to scale it up. Also, I want to show you a couple more things before we dive into the actual project. So you decide whether you want to recreate this plan for another practice or you feel already fit to draw plans so you can just watch and make your notes. Okay, we start by clicking File, Import. Now you see all the supported files SketchUp can import for you. You choose your file and import. Now the plan is floating over the working space and we need to ground it to the bottom. We can do so by selecting the midpoint of the axis and move the mouse and click another time to fixate the plan. When I use my tape measurements tool now and recheck the length of the measure, you will see that it's not big enough, so we need to scale it. So while we have the plan selected, I'm gonna use the tape measure again and I fixate the measure with the tape measure by clicking once at the beginning and clicking another time until the end, until we see the measure appearing on the right bottom corner. Now we simply type in the number we need and we enter. As you see now, we have a pop-up that appears that is asking us if we want to resize the plan. Here we just click yes, and SketchUp is scaling up the plan in the correct measure that you selected. You can recheck the measurements also again, just to make sure. Before I start drawing, I want to show you some predefined views SketchUp offers on the toolbar that we have adjusted previously. So this icon you can select and it's gonna automatically orbit to the predefined view. So like the ISO view that is showing the 3 axes. Then you have the top view, you have front view and all the side views of your project. That's gonna save you time to orbit instead of orbiting there. We select the top view to make sure SketchUp draws our lines on the ground and not underneath or above it. Then you see another blue icon, which is called X-ray. This is a very nice preview as it lets you see your project in an X-ray version where you are able to make the surface invisible, or let's say less visible. This way you can see underneath the imported file and you can draw your lines on top of it. So in the next few minutes, I will use the tools that I have already shown you in the previous lessons to create my walls, and we will come back for the doors again. Let's have a quick look into what grouping is within SketchUp. In simple words, it's like SketchUp is hugging your lines and surfaces and doesn't let go of them until you explode them. Meaning, whatever you select and group, you can move as a combined object while it's not sticky anymore. For this example, I will start grouping my walls and the surfaces. By clicking twice, you see it does select certain surfaces and its edges that surrounds it. By clicking 3 times, it selects all surfaces and edges that are connected. This is what we want. We click 3 times, and now let's say I want to group these into one group. So I click Command G or Control G for PC. Now it's a contained group that we can move as we want. If we want to make changes inside this group, we need to double click, and you can see that the preview slightly changes, and that is indicating that you are inside the group. By clicking Escape, you can go back or outside the group again to your main level. Let's now create the windows and group them. Since I have this window below as well, I can simply copy my group with the Move tool and move it to the spot I want it to be. I can also do the same for the doors, in case I have doors that have the same size. Now, if one of the doors have a different size, you can either create it from scratch like we did in the beginning, or you can copy the door that you have and adjust it accordingly. I will copy this door now and move it to the spot where I need it. Here I can use the Move tool to rotate it using the 4 red crosses that appear. And then I can click right and flip it along the axis I need. Then I go inside my door group. Since the lines and the edges within my groups are still sticky, I can simply select the surface and then move it, and with that I automatically adjust the door width. If at this point, when selecting the door, trying to flip the object, you don't see the option flip when clicking right, it means you are already working with the SketchUp 2023 version. When I recorded the first part of this video, I have used the 2022 version, and they got rid of this function in the 2023 version and replaced it with this flipping tool. Let's see how it works. I have to select the object I want to flip, and once selecting the flip tool from the left toolbar, you can see it has created 3 axes. Note that these axes are not the same axis as globally, meaning the object has been assigned to its own axis. In this case, the red axis will flip the object vertically from left to right, and the green axis horizontally from top to bottom. You can also use your left or right arrow key to navigate. Don't mind the blue axis for now, it will concern us later when we start using 3D. In 2D, we don't need it, since it will flip the symbol upside down, and we don't want that. If I want to open my groups, I can click right and say explode. Now you don't have a group anymore, and you're having an open source again where the lines and the surfaces are sticky. I do find it easier to start working with groups as soon as you can in your model, to keep it clean and also organized, and to not mess up your lines and your walls, as you will see in the next lessons. It makes things very easy to work with groups. Feel free to import this JPEG file into your class project and scale it up, just so you have done it once at least. And you can also practice creating the groups as seen in this video. In the next lesson, we will have a look at situation number 3, where we will import a DWG file before starting our final project.